Kia ora, hello. Thanks for tuning in to our Music 101 interview podcast with me, Charlotte Ryan. Today I'm talking to the Topp Twins, and it's giving away my age, but I grew up listening to their music and with their characters, Camp Mother, Camp Leader, and Ken and Ken. So it was so incredible to have them on the show. And what I didn't expect is that they're fans of Music 101. I was also quite surprised by the number of times they've been arrested. Enjoy our chat. Jools and Lynda.
Yeah.
Lynda, Jools.
Yeah.
It's so nice to have you here, and it's an absolute honour to have you on Music 101. I, like many New Zealanders, feel like I know you so well.
We are family. We're family to New Zealand.
Yeah. We can be your aunties if you want. I listen to you all the time too on 101.
Oh.
So, we know you too.
Well, today I thought, because you spoke to Kim Hill and you did a wonderful interview, I thought today would just focus purely on music, because that's what Music 101 is all about.
Yeah.
Actually, the music has always been what has got us through our shows.
It's the vehicle.
It's the vehicle.
That drives us forward,
And when you say that, is it the joy that music brings? Or what is it about?
There's a feeling to the songs. There's always a feeling. And, songs like Milestones is about being homesick, and Calf Club Day is remembering our childhood, and Untouchable Girls is, being strong and...
Nuclear free, issues, Best and Bastion Point. We wrote songs about both those. One was called Bastion Point, the other one was called Radiation Burns. So, they all had a meaning, the songs to us, but they also had many meanings to other people. Now, I think that's what happened, especially in the protest days. We were always asked, can you sing at the end of the rally? Music has had
And it brought people
movement
together. It made people feel like they were in a cause that had, just ask Joan Baez whether a protest song is credible and works for you as a performer, and she'd say yes, and we'd say the same thing. But you have to believe in it.
Some people tell me off for talking about politics on Music 101, and they say music and politics, they should be separate.
Well, who are those people? Politicians.
Probably.
Music is really political. Art is political. You can't get away from it. And the more political we are, the more alive we are, because we're capable of standing up and saying what we believe in, even if we're prepared to get arrested for it. Then you feel like you've really achieved something.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're not living your life to the fullest.
Did you ever get arrested?
Yes,
Yes,
many
we did.
times.
Many times?
Yeah.
Been arrested for busking, arrested for singing music in the street. We got
A criminal offence it was, Lynda.
Yes.
That wasn't Queen Street.
Yes,
Queen
it was Queen Street. It's in the book.
I'm reading the book halfway through.
You haven't got to the busking bit then. We got arrested for busking. We were arrested during the Springboks movement.
We were arrested on a Reclaim the Night to stop, men from raping women in Auckland, and we thought that's quite an important issue. I mean, the boys need to stand up. The boys need to talk to other boys to say, stop doing this shit.
Why are we still talking? I feel like we still talk about these things and debate these things and fight these things that you were fighting, 30, 40 years ago?
Yeah, and they're
We've managed to actually win all of those protests. When you look at it, the Homosexual Law Reform Bill, Bastion Point, Nuclear Free New Zealand, the Springboks Tour, we actually won all of those things because the people who believed that they were wrong and they shouldn't happen stood up.
But they have to keep standing up to make sure that it always stays that way. We're Labour. We've been we're left wing. There's no surprise in that whatsoever. So we're strongly going to stand up and always be political about our lives. And when you feel strongly about something, even if someone feels strongly about being a national supporter, we're not going to put them down, but because we know that if you believe in something strongly enough, it's your choice. This is what the vote is about.
It's your choice, but you must stand up in order to get your voice heard.
Yeah.
The great thing that is happening with music in New Zealand is there's these young people who are so enthusiastic about music. And it's slightly different because right now, and it has been for a little while, you can make an album in your bedroom. You can sit there and you can loop that, and you can plug in your computer and your plugins and all sorts of things, and you've got your keyboards there and you've got your electric guitar there, or you might have a synthesizer or something, and boom, you've recorded a whole backing track, and then you can sing into it, right? I mean, in some ways, Lorde was writing and making music at home, and boom,
something we could never have done. And I do worry a little bit about the stage presence those kids might have.
Well, they don't learn on the stage, do they?
No,
they learn in their bedrooms, so they struggle
learn
performing.
how to make music, and there's this amazing technology that it can help you, but you also have to stand up and to have a voice. You've got to be seen with that voice. And that voice can either be pure music and gorgeous, or it also can have a major political statement. And so you can choose what kind of musician you want to be. If you've got just a beautiful, sweet voice and you want to just make gorgeous music, then that is amazing. But you also have the ability to use that voice in a political way.
To change people's minds.
Yeah.
And it can be very subtle.
Do you think you've changed people's minds?
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
It's okay to be gay, We stood up right from the word go. The difference between a lot of, gay and lesbian performers from overseas was they got famous and then they came out. And it kind of backfired for some of them. For Jools and me, we came out and then we got famous.
Yeah, so there was no dirt on us.
There was nothing. People knew who we were.
They knew honesty about who we were. And if you didn't like it, well, you didn't have to come and see the show. But New Zealand came with us.
I love that. There were a few New Zealanders, though, that felt weird or didn't quite feel right. The Oldhurst Hotel.
Yeah. And even if we didn't change people's minds, we made them think about a few things along the way. And that's that's the basis of what politics is about, is to give people all the options so they make a good decision for themselves. And really, you can't ask for anything better than that, because it's not about forcing someone to accept something. It's for them to see what it's like for the other side, or to stand in someone else's shoes and to feel what it's like. And, when you stand in someone else's shoes, you suddenly have empathy. And I think that's what we've tried to live our lives with a concept about having empathy for other people. So everything that we ever protested about wasn't for us; it was for someone else.
Did your parents teach you that? Do you think?
I think they did. I think they taught us to.
Did you grow up Catholic?
No.
Or anything? No.
Our mum and dad were incredibly
we don't feel guilty about anything.
open about the fact that there was no job for girls or boys on the farm.
Everybody just worked.
If a job had to be done, whoever was available had to do it. We had to work on the farm. We would, Dad and Mum would say, "You got to milk the cows. You got to do this. You got to do that.
Pick up the hay."
Yeah, and we loved it. We loved every minute. We were farm girls. We're still farm girls,
Yeah.
But I think and the classic thing was, when after we'd done all our schooling and stuff like that, we'd left home. We went to the Burnham military camp in South Island to do our army training. When I look back now, I'm thinking, wow, that was such a crazy sort of idea.
I agree. I'm reading, and that really surprised me in your career that you both went to Burnham.
War is such a terrible thing. Everybody is a loser in war, And I think what happened to Jools and me is that one of the reasons why we went to Burnham was that we got a free trip to the South Island on the cabbage train. And it was like, for us, it was going like overseas. We were going overseas.
We'd never left the farm,
we'd lived out the back of Huntley all our lives.
We did 6 weeks of training and got some money in our pocket, and then we didn't go home. We just didn't get back on the train again.
Well, what happened was we made the phone call. We finished our training, our basic training, and it was the last time all women were together. It was another historical moment that we were a part of, and so the following year it was all integrated, men and women training. So it was the last. It was like there was 28 of us, 28 girls. What happened was that we finished our training at Burnham. We rang Mum and Dad and said, right, we were coming home now to take over the farm, because that's what we always thought we would do.
And he said no, didn't he?
Dad said no.
Dad said no. And we were absolutely shocked and horrified. What are you saying? What do you mean no? And he said, if you come home, you'll be here for the rest of your lives. And he said, both Mum and Dad said, go and see the world.
Oh.
Go and see the world. And so we hung up the phone in Christchurch, and now we're homeless, penniless, and then we had to go and find somewhere to live and everything like that. And it was quite, we were just thrust into this new idea of we can't go home to the farm. What are we going to do? Anyway,
And then-
the rest is history.
The rest is absolute history.
The rest is history, yeah.
What do you guys remember of Christchurch in that time?
Christchurch was a really beautiful music scene.
Yeah.
Lots of music. It also had a very kind of weird sort of underbelly of crime too, Christchurch. Some weird sort of, very kind
Quite
of...
conservative, but
Yeah.
we managed to meet some amazing women. There's Nancy Keel from the little baby, boogie band and the baby band. Janice Gray, probably one of New Zealand's greatest bloody,
Cabaret
jazz
singers.
cabaret singers.
Yeah.
Annie Davis,
was on the radio.
There was amazing stuff for
Lee Hatherley was on the radio.
In the folk music club, that was incredible. Dicad Wallader was down there, probably New Zealand's best guitarist, woman guitarist. And so we met all these amazing people, and that they really nurtured us in our early days, because they were all sort of maybe in their mid-20s. And we were, 17.
Did you know you wanted to be full-time musicians at that point?
No, we had no idea. It just we'd grown up playing at home, at parties, listening to the old wind-up gramophone. And when we'd had this party back in a little place that we lived in called Opawa in Christchurch, and we invited the whole pub. You wouldn't do that now. And then, of course, we didn't have a car, so we walked home. So we got home, and everyone was waiting to get in because they'd all driven there, and we'd walked home. It was really crazy. And then what happened was they got the guitar out. Everyone was gobsmacked that we didn't have a record player. We got the guitar out and we sang and sang and sang. We had the fire going. Everyone sang, and everyone says, "God, you guys are amazing. Do you know how your harmonies are weird and all that?"
And
sort of
then
stuff?
Nancy, who'd been playing at the Gresham Hotel that night when we had invited everybody to a party at our place, Nancy turned up a bit later on and heard us, and she went, "Who are these kids? Who are these kids with this family harmony?" And they sing weird songs, but they're awesome.
So they really encourage us to actually go down a track where we could actually have music in our lives. And because Mum and Dad had said, bugger off, you're not coming home, we just thought we could have a crack at this.
Was the first song that you ever wrote together, was it called Freedom?
Freedom was the first one of the first political songs that we wrote.
And that was it was a International Women's Day on the back of a truck. I remember it vividly because we sang Freedom and then the truck moved and we all fell off the truck.
There was a lot of freedom that day on the back of the truck, but it was a voice because we'd sort of found a community that we thought, this is family, and that was the woman musicians that we'd met, and also there was this group called Lesbians, and they looked like us. We all wore the same kind of clothes, and they were all radical and out there. And
we said that we're just like them. We'd never even, at home on the farm, we never even heard the word.
No.
We didn't even know what a lesbian was. So we said, we're just like them. We must be lesbians.
It wasn't. We didn't go through any trauma or anything about it. We just said, we're just like them. Okay, we must be lesbians.
And it was empowering.
And you empowered a lot of New Zealanders as well.
Yeah, and we didn't have, there was no person to look up to, no lesbian icon hanging around at that time. And so I just think that we made the best of it, and we made people aware that it was okay to feel like this and to be not, because as soon as we decided that we were lesbians, we hadn't had a relationship with a woman at all, but we identified as lesbian because it was more like a lifestyle than it was a sexual preference at that point in time. But whatever it was, we realised that if you said you were a lesbian, you got discriminated against immediately.
Actually, in the book, you write beautifully about how you resonated at that time with Māori because you were discriminated against.
Yeah, and also there were a lot of Māori women who identified as lesbian, especially when we came to Auckland. So we were all family.
Yeah,
Can you tell me about writing Ngā Iwi E?
Yeah, well, basically, it was a song that was penned by the Canucks of New Caledonia, Indigenous people of New Caledonia, and we had been invited to a big South Pacific Arts Festival, along with four other contemporary musicians, to attend the South Pacific Arts Festival.
So it's like early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah. And what had happened is the idea was when everybody got to this big festival, that basically we would all come together as all the nations of the Pacific and actually be able to sing a song all together. So we were asked to write 2 verses. We ended up writing 3 because we thought we could. And it was along with Hiruni Melbourne and Miriana Pittman. There was a few people in the room at a big hui that we were having down in Rotorua, one of the maraes down there. And so that song came about because we were going to then write the song in Te Reo Māori, and then our job really was to learn it and play guitar on it, and then we're going to teach 120 other people who were all going to the South Pacific Arts Festival, along with carvers and,
We were not fluent in Te Reo, and we never have been, but we were... there was a point where we could sort of understand what people were saying and to us about it, and then so there was jobs for the singer songwriters who were fluent in Te Reo. There was Jools and my job our job was the cadence of the music and the playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And
then teaching everyone, trying to get them all to come together to then sing this one song.
And, it's like basic. So, Ngāiwi is sort of, it's basic, loosely, it's, all the people of the Pacific come together. So it wasn't just about, New Zealand. It was about the South Pacific Arts.
And then what happened is
all coming together.
That because of the French involvement in all those countries and everything, there was a change in what was going to happen. It was cancelled and it was postponed to somewhere else, and then another place put their hand up to say they wanted to do it and all this stuff. So in order for us to make sure that our voices were heard, we all agreed that we would sing Ngāiwi for the rest of our lives to honour the Canucks in French Caledonia.
So it was this amazing
major song in New Zealand.
And then Ngāiwi became this incredible song that was spread out. And the most beautiful moment that Jules and I had with Ngāiwi was probably about a year later. 2 young Maori women had come up from Hamilton and they needed somewhere to stay, and we were living in this big lesbian house in Grey Lynn. Yeah. We walked in and these 2 young Maori women were singing Ngāiwi. And we said, oh, wow, that's amazing. Where'd you hear that song from? And they go, oh, this is an really old traditional Māori song, It's been around for a long time, And we just said, yeah, it has. And then we just carried on. We never said a word because Ngāiwi had now taken on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And and now there have been more verses written and all sorts of things. So it was just an amazing, and we tell that story in the book,
Yeah.
Yeah. All the photos throughout your book, Untouchable Girls, are amazing. There are so many good photos of like the crew of women and the crew of lesbians and the crew of, I don't know, just you guys. How has it felt putting this book together and looking through those
We said
photos?
to Alan and Unwin, who are our publisher, who took a punt on 2 old docs from Auckland, we said to them, we need pictures. Because a picture tells 1,000 words. We'll write the words, but we want the picture next to it. And we don't want them all in the middle of the book where you don't get a sense that you're actually following a story.
Yeah.
So they were great. They just said, as many pictures as you can throw in would be brilliant. Because that's a history, a visual history. It's not classy. It's not been set up in a studio. It's just this old photo that was part of our history.
Yeah.
So I think making the book was equally as exciting as writing the book, because we were a little bit phased at the beginning when they said, would you like to write a book? We said, well, we're not writers, we're entertainers. And they said, we think you can do it. Because we talked about a ghostwriter.
Oh, yeah.
And then we ghosted that big time. Because we thought, no one else knows our story except us. We have to do it.
We'd have to tell a ghostwriter, and we thought, well, let's just do it ourselves. It was a process, because most books, when you look at them, it has one person writing the book, but there had to be 2 people write this book because we're twins.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing was, we
could have been messy.
We were all at the same places at the same time. We had the same story. We had we knew the beginning, the middle, and the end, but we do write a little bit differently and stuff like that. But I think the one thing that we said, it must flow like it's just.
And it does.
One person writing.
And I think
that is the twin thing.
Yeah.
That's a twin thing,
It's just we're a tight unit.
And, twins are special. They are special to people. And when we did our tribute show and we found the Mitchell twins down in Invercargill, in Gore, they wrote that song about us, and they got it because they were twins. They knew exactly what Jules and I were talking about.
And Lynda had said this great thing, because during COVID we hadn't been able to see each other. Lynda, I couldn't travel, and we were both doing radiation or chemo. So we were sort of stuck in our respective places, doing all sorts of cancer treatment. And we couldn't see each other. So Lynda loves fly fishing. So she said, find a river. Put your feet...
I put the water... I put my feet... I said to Jules, I'll find a river and put my feet in the water, because the river always flows to the sea. And when you're in Auckland, up in, South Head, you go to the ocean and I will find you.
And so along with Tammy Nielsen, she was helpful on that song. They all put together and
co-wrote
with the Mitchell twins a beautiful tune called Find Me a River.
Find a River, I think.
Find a River.
Yeah.
And just from a story that we told, they wrote a song.
But they got it.
Jools and Lynda, does listening to music change? When you listen to music and you know that you're in hospital and you don't really know the future, I find music, when I listen to it, it's really emotional.
Yeah, it is.
Is it more emotional?
Yeah. Sometimes I can put a song on and then I'm just bawling my eyes out because I have this kind of idea in my head that suddenly things mean something more than they are. You can read something more into it because you're a little bit emotional anyway. You're a bit sort of vulnerable when you're sick. And I think that really, in some ways, music is always something that, funnily enough, people say, what am I going to play at my funeral? Because that's really important. Because they think this is going to change the moment when people say goodbye to me. And so I just think that music doesn't need to be something that you say goodbye to. You should live it. See, live it. Be in the moment. If it makes you cry, that's okay. It's just crying is just another emotion. It's like laughing. It's just let something out. And so I just think that the music for me now, when I listen to music, I just feel like it's a new breath of fresh air because it's somehow I read more into it than I used to. I think,
and it can lift you up, and it can make you sad, and that's the beauty of music. That's the power of music. It can portray a message to you as a person about how you're thinking. So somebody's lyrics, some songwriter who sat down and penned those lyrics, who has no idea, how that's going to affect other people. They do affect other people. That's the great thing about songwriters, is that it either lifts you up to, you want to dance or you want to play or you just think this is an amazing song, or it just takes you inwards and you think, oh my God, that's got so much meaning to me, And that when that writer wrote that story, they don't know that that's going to affect that person, how that will, later on when they hear it.
But you just have to trust the process when you're writing a song. We've had a few people come up and say, oh, Craft Club Day, that makes me cry every time I hear it, because it's about a memory of being a little kid and having a most beautiful day and how the grass has been cut and how it smells and the smell of the calf and all that sort of stuff. And that was a dream. I woke up in the morning, I dreamt that whole song and I just sat upright and wrote it all down, boom. And not every song comes like that. Sometimes you struggle with the song and you think, oh, maybe I need to work at the song a little bit more. And sometimes you just never get to finish that song. It's just not the right song and it doesn't get finished. But a song that I might be writing, or Lynda and me are writing together or something, we don't often write together. We write songs separately and then come together afterwards. That song might mean something different to me and Lynda have a completely different reaction to it.
Are you missing playing live anymore?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a bit hard for us. In some ways, I feel like we've lost our career. It's gone.
Oh no, you haven't.
But we only in that, and when we're in that moment, it's like the guitar's been sitting in the corner for the last 2 years, with COVID and cancer. That kind of, that messed everything up. And I just think it's okay because we've been doing this for nearly 40 years and we never had a break. And I said, well, we've gone to great measures to get a break, and maybe we're supposed to have a break because when we come back out raging again, man, you better watch out because the Topp Twins are going to hit the town.
And we never had the chance to write a book. And so when we had that time off, there was a time where we thought this is a terrible moment for us because we had been entertainers in New Zealand for so long, and then it wasn't there anymore, And then
we're doers. We love doing shit.
And then the idea of the book, we got the phone call. Do you want to write a book? And we went, yeah, let's write a book. We had the time to write a book, but hopefully next year we've got 3 gigs in the pipeline. They're all penciled in. And that's our goal because, you've got to have a goal as a performer. Yeah. You're on the boards
I'm going to have to do a lot of practising because I've lost all the calluses on my fingers on my acoustic, my steel strings. It's going to be painful for the first week, but I reckon if I can get it right, we'll be good.
But Jules, do you not just pull out the guitar sometimes on a Saturday night by the fire?
No, haven't done it forever.
Yeah.
Because we've played so many places. Actually, having this time now to be free to not do it has been quite amazing at the same time.
It's really interesting, right? Because, at the end of all our chemo and everything like that, the tribute show in Auckland here for the Topp Twins, it was such an amazing night for us, because we'd been through quite a lot, and we were both still a bit sick from chemo. I was sick from chemo. Jools was having her, injection in her buttocks every 3 weeks. So we were both a bit sick. And then all of those, performers came together to sing our songs. What an absolute treat it was, and it was called a tribute show, and they did us so proud, those people. And it
was amazing to hear other people sing our songs.
I know.
Don McGlashan. I mean, honestly, he just was incredible because he was the music director for the whole show.
When you've been a performer in New Zealand for such a long time as we have, and you've written a lot of songs, and then the new generation of performers out there come and sing your songs as a tribute to you, it's the most amazing feeling in the world. It is. And we were so lucky. And so
Don, he sang
Palomino
Moon, which I wrote, and he knew he couldn't yodel, so he played his French horn instead of yodeling, and it was the most beautiful, a version of that song. It was just amazing. We've also been around a lot of amazing musicians in New Zealand. And there was a time when we first started out where music was really happening. Everywhere you went, bands were playing, the Students' Arts Council tours were just going bangers. It was crazy.
I mean, you could tour New Zealand very easily and make money.
Yeah. And they did. We did. We've toured New Zealand numerous times. Every 2 years we were on the road again, and everyone said, oh, you're going to flood the market. We said, no, we're not. They're just going to go, wow, the Topp Twins are back in town. Let's go and see them.
When was the point that you guys realised you'd made it?
Next year when we do that gig, we would have made it.
Yeah, that's right. There's been many, many nights where I've been singing away and it's been, tonight's the night. But then every artist will tell you that you have many of those, and then there'll be a bad night. So it's okay. Yeah. There will be bad. If you're starting out and you have a bad night and you think it didn't go right, make it better the next time. Just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. That's the most important thing, because one day it'll happen.
Oh, Jools and Lynda Topp, thank you so much for coming into Music 101. Thank you for everything that you've done for us in New Zealand as well, and all the amazing music you've...
And we should thank New Zealand for coming with us.
Yeah, and thank you for, putting music out there every week.
I love it.
Brilliant.
I love it. And I always try and play Topp Twin songs. I can't play you guys every week, but when I do, it feels magical.
Good on you.
And that wraps up my interview with Jools and Lynda Topp, aka the Topp Twins. Their new book, Untouchable Girls, is out now, and you can stream the Topp Twins concert on RNZ and on YouTube. Just search Top Class. And if you like music like I do, make sure you follow and share the Music 101 interview podcast for free, and go and tell all your music-loving friends about it too. Until next time, take care and go and listen to some excellent music. It's good for your health.